Some of these mountains stretch for thousands of kilometers. Others once towered higher than anything on Earth, before time wore them down. But every giant has a beginning. Today, we're counting down the top 10 biggest mountain ranges in the world. The Appalachian Mountains stretch more than 2,400 kilometers or 1,490 miles across eastern North America, from Newfoundland in Canada to the southeastern United States. They are among the oldest mountain ranges on Earth, formed over 480 million years ago, when continents that no longer exist collided. Their highest peak is Mount Mitchell, rising 2,037 meters or 6,680 feet above sea level in North Carolina. Today, that may seem modest, but these mountains were once as tall as the Himalayas. Erosion slowly transformed them into rolling ridges, deep valleys, and dense forests, creating one of the most biologically diverse temperate regions on Earth. The Appalachians shaped early American history, acting as a natural barrier to westward expansion, providing coal, iron, and timber, and hosting the legendary Appalachian Trail, one of the longest hiking trails on the planet. These mountains don't dominate the skyline, but they dominate time itself. Far from America's green hills rise the Urals, a long, stony spine of Russia. They stretch for over 2,500 kilometers or 1,550 miles from the Arctic Ocean down toward Kazakhstan, forming the historic boundary between Europe and Asia. Their highest point is Mount Narodnaya, standing at 1,895 meters or 6,220 feet. Though relatively low, the Urals are geologically massive, formed around 300 million years ago during the creation of the supercontinent Pangaea. Gold, platinum, iron and precious gemstones have been mined here for centuries, making the Urals economically vital to Russia's rise as a global power. Snow-covered in the north and forested in the south, the Urals quietly divide two continents, without ever demanding attention. The Tien Shan, or Celestial Mountains, dominate Central Asia, stretching nearly 2,800 kilometers or 1,740 miles across China, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and Uzbekistan. Their highest peak is Jengish Chokusu, towering at 7,439 meters or 24,400 feet. Its permanent ice and violent storms make it one of the most challenging mountains in Asia. These mountains rise abruptly from deserts and plains, creating a dramatic contrast between scorching lowlands and permanent ice above. These mountains act as natural water towers, feeding rivers that sustain millions of people across Central Asia. Without the glaciers of the Tien Shan, much of the region would struggle to survive. The range is also highly seismically active, with earthquakes continuing to reshape the landscape even today. For centuries, Silk Road traders passed through their valleys, while nomadic cultures adapted to life beneath towering walls of stone and snow. Remote, powerful, and still relatively unexplored, the Tien Shan are one of Earth's hidden giants. The Atlas Mountains rise like a stone wall across North Africa, stretching through Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. They form a dramatic divide between the Mediterranean coastline and the Sahara Desert, the largest hot desert on Earth. The highest peak, Mount Toubkal, reaches over 4,100 meters or 13,450 feet, towering above surrounding deserts. Snow often crowns its summit, even as desert heat scorches the land below. The mountains were formed between about 80 and 30 million years ago, when tectonic forces caused the African plate to collide with the Eurasian plate. This slow but powerful collision folded and lifted the Earth's crust, pushing the land upward into the mountains we see today. Without the Atlas, much of North Africa would be uninhabitable. They capture moisture from the air, feeding rivers and valleys that support millions of people, especially the Berber communities, who have lived here for thousands of years. In a land defined by heat and sand, the Atlas Mountains are a fortress of life. Located between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea, the Caucasus Mountains mark another powerful continental boundary between Europe and Asia. This powerful mountain range stretches for more than 1,200 kilometers or 746 miles, cutting across modern-day Russia, Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. This range includes Mount Elbrus, which at 5,642 meters or 18,510 feet is the highest mountain in Europe. The Caucasus were formed around 25 to 30 million years ago, when the Arabian plate began colliding with the Eurasian plate. This slow but relentless impact folded the Earth's crust, lifting the land into steep ridges and deep valleys. These mountains have long acted as both a barrier and a refuge. Their rugged terrain isolated communities, allowing hundreds of languages and cultures to develop in close proximity, making the Caucasus one of the most culturally diverse regions on the planet. Legends, myths, and conflicts have echoed through these peaks for thousands of years. The Alps are the most famous mountains in the world, and arguably the most influential in human history. Stretching across 8 countries from France to Slovenia, they dominate the heart of Europe. Their highest peak, Mont Blanc, rises to 4,808 meters or 15,774 feet on the border of France and Italy. For centuries, this peak symbolized the edge of the known world and inspired the birth of modern mountaineering. The Alps were formed around 65 to 30 million years ago, when the African plate collided with the Eurasian plate, folding and uplifting the Earth's crust. Beyond their beauty, the Alps are vital to life across the continent. Their glaciers and snowfields feed major rivers like the Rhine, Danube and Po, supplying water to millions of people. Yet today, the Alps are on the front line of climate change, with glaciers melting at alarming rates. Beautiful, iconic and fragile, they are a living reminder of the forces that built the continent itself. The Rocky Mountains form the backbone of western North America, stretching nearly 4,800 kilometers or 2,982 miles from Canada to New Mexico. Rising sharply from plains and deserts, the Rockies are not the tallest mountains on Earth, but few ranges have shaped an entire continent so completely. Formed between 80 and 55 million years ago, the Rockies are relatively young in geological terms. Their dramatic peaks, deep valleys and sharp ridgelines are the result of powerful tectonic forces followed by relentless erosion from ice and wind. Their highest peak is Mount Elbert, standing at 4,401 meters or 14,440 feet in Colorado. From here, the Rockies divide the flow of water across North America, sending rivers toward the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, and even the Arctic Ocean. From grizzly bears to alpine tundra, from gold rushes to national parks, the Rockies are deeply woven into North America's identity. Where the borders of Pakistan, India and China meet, the Karakoram Mountains rise in violent walls of rock and ice. This is one of the most extreme mountain ranges on Earth, steeper, harsher and more unforgiving than almost anywhere else. The Karakoram stretch for over 500 kilometers. Yet within this relatively compact range stand some of the tallest and most dangerous peaks on the planet. At their highest point rises K2, towering 8,611 meters or 28,250 feet above sea level. Known as the Savage Mountain, it is the second highest peak in the world and widely considered the most difficult to climb. The Karakoram were formed around 40 to 25 million years ago, as the Indian plate collided with the Eurasian plate, thrusting the Earth's crust upward into towering spires. Unlike most regions on Earth, many Karakoram glaciers are stable or even growing, a rare phenomenon known as the Karakoram anomaly. These glaciers feed the Indus River, sustaining millions of people downstream. Unforgiving, relentless and awe-inspiring, the Karakoram remain one of the last true frontiers on Earth. Stretching along the western edge of South America, the Andes Mountains form the longest mountain range on Earth. They run for more than 7,000 kilometers or 4,350 miles, crossing 7 countries from Venezuela to Chile and Argentina. No other mountain system shapes an entire continent the way the Andes do. At their highest point stands Aconcagua, rising 6,961 meters or 22,838 feet above sea level, the tallest mountain outside Asia. The Andes were formed over millions of years as the Nazca Plate continues to slide beneath the South American plate. This powerful process, known as subduction, fuels earthquakes, volcanic eruptions and the constant uplift of the mountains themselves. These mountains create extreme contrasts. On one side lies the Atacama Desert, the driest place on Earth. On the other, rainforests and fertile valleys flourish. High above, glaciers and snowfields crown the peaks. The Andes gave rise to great civilizations. The Inca Empire built cities, roads and terraces at astonishing altitudes, adapting to thin air and steep terrain. By length and cultural impact alone, the Andes are unmatched, except by one. Rising like a wall of stone and ice across Nepal, India, Bhutan, China and Pakistan, the Himalayas are Earth's most magnificent mountain range. They are home to the planet's tallest peaks, including Mount Everest, soaring 8,849 meters or 29,032 feet above sea level, the highest point on Earth. Yet Everest is only one of 14 peaks above 8,000 meters, all of them part of this colossal range. The Himalayas were formed about 50 million years ago, when the Indian plate collided with the Eurasian plate. That collision is still ongoing today, pushing peaks higher and triggering earthquakes along the way. The Himalayas are not just mountains, they are the lifeblood of a continent. Rivers born from their glaciers, like the Ganges, Indus and Brahmaputra, provide water for nearly 2 billion people, shaping agriculture, cities and entire ecosystems. For centuries, these peaks have inspired awe reverence, and fear. Sacred in many cultures, the Himalayas are pilgrimage sites, homes to monasteries perched on cliffs, and a test of human endurance. Climbers risk life and limb to reach their summits, confronting blizzards, avalanches, and freezing temperatures. They are not just the tallest mountains, they are the roof of the world.